Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Joe Lopez, and I'm back with episode 3 in the mobile IV therapy world. Before I get into this episode, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know that I did start a mobile IV business academy school community. I'm going to leave it in the description below. Go ahead and get in there when you can. It's completely free. How long is it going to be free? Who knows? But it's completely free. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, we're going to do it in school. It's just the easiest thing for me. With this episode, we're going to do kind of like a Q&A. I get questions all the time in my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And I'm super fortunate that people actually reach out to me. I've been in this field for a very long time. For those of you that don't know, I have been in the mobile IV therapy business for the last 5 or 6 years, since 2021. Generated over, from the 50, 60 operators that I've worked with and helped, we've generated over 100 million in sales. Booked over 90,000 people on Google ads and Facebook ads. So I'm really proud of those numbers. And I'm just super fortunate that I found a field that I really enjoy. And yeah, that's pretty much how it is. But so anyway, I'm going to jump into these questions, and feel free if you guys have anything. I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but I'm still trying to find my place, when it comes to this. So I'm trying to open up my brain and just kind of feed whatever type of information that comes out of, and, hopefully something sticks with you guys and resonates, and we'll go from there. So, I've been asked recently why, how do you react when that phone first rings? Like you go into a new location, and I'm going to take Texas, for instance. I was in Texas a little bit ago. It didn't work out. Reason why it didn't work out is because ad spend was ridiculous. We couldn't figure it out, and we ultimately just got rid of it, sold it, whatever. And, that was a long time ago, and now I'm back. So, when you go into these new markets, basically marketing, and that's my background, you want to have location pages. So, like, say you go into Dallas, you're going to want to have... no, you know what? That's a horrible example because I'm not from Dallas. I'm from Phoenix. Let's say you go into Phoenix. You're going to need landing pages and location pages for basically every city. So Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, Mesa, Gilbert, Casa Grande, Florence, Maricopa. And then, you do kind of the middle side, Avondale, Central Phoenix, North Scottsdale, Anthem. Then you go over to the west, Surprise, Goodyear, Litchfield Park, and so on and so forth. You're kind of getting what I'm saying. You want to be able to have location pages. And when you have location pages, it's so much easier for you to branch out and get clients because you're able to rank in other cities. And the reason why you're able to rank in other cities is because a bunch of mobile IV therapy operators out there aren't going to take the time to build out 40 location pages. Now, me, I'm crazy. I'm a crazy person. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build out every single city known to man, every sub-city known to man, and make sure that they're super unique so we don't get flagged by Google. Because if you're just throwing out a bunch of location pages, you're going to get flagged by Google, and they're going to be like, well, you're a spam company, and what are you doing? But if you take your time and you build them out correctly, and, there's certain things you could use now with AI, it's probably the best thing to do when you build out location pages. So anyway, I'm getting way off topic. We went into Texas about 2.5, 3 months ago, and we got into Dallas-Fort Worth, and I knew we were going to get it. I knew we were going to get calls, and before we were even there with nurses, we were getting calls. And it's just such a good feeling to see because it just validates that I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what I'm doing, but just seeing it happen, you're like, damn, all right, it works. But, we went into Dallas-Fort Worth, and, we're getting a bunch of calls in there, and then we jumped to Houston, we jumped to Austin, we jumped to San Antonio. And of course, I should have slowed down, but right now we're spending about 600 a day, 500 a day in Texas, and we're killing it, And like I love it because it made me feel whole again because we're back in Texas and we're actually generating calls, and it's growing. We went from I have the stats somewhere. I had them written down somewhere and I can't find them on my monitors, but I'm pretty sure the first month we did 4,000, the next month we did 8. The following month, 3 months in, we did 16, and then so on and so forth. And I think this month we're already at 50,000 in revenue. So it's just so sick to see. And so it's just a really good feeling. It just solidifies that, damn, this works. And basically it works everywhere. if you do it whatever city, whatever state you want to do it in, you just got to make sure you have the right people behind you when it comes to building out your website. I see a lot of mobile IV therapy companies. I see a lot of med spa companies that they have a really nice website. It's really good, but they have no service pages. They have no location pages. They have nothing to grow them. And so that's my biggest thing for you. You know, make sure you get location pages 100%. Let's move on to the next question. What's my biggest early mistake and what it costs me? I think my biggest mistake ever in the mobile IV therapy world was trying to grow way too fast. I'm talking about, like, I was trying to grow, like, you know, you go into one state and then you try and go into another and you go into another. And like, the thing is, the model that we run, it's pretty easy to do that because, you know, we run 1099 nurses. The 1099 nurses, we don't pay for supplies. We don't pay for anything. The nurses pay for everything. They get a percentage base, and that's it. We call it a day, how it goes from there. So, you know, it's super straightforward, super to the point. And the thing that we have to pay for is advertising. So you got to think about it. When we go into a new state, new city, it's $100 to advertise. $100 times 30, that's $3,000. You go into 2, that's $6,000. You go into 3 states now, that's $9,000. So on and so forth, 12, 15, 18, you get the picture. You know, at one point, I think right now we're already at $60,000, you know, a month. You know, kind of what it, sorry guys, kind of what it is. We just got to watch it. So my biggest mistake is growing way too fast or trying to grow way too fast, and it just doesn't work out. You know, you got to be really cautious on that. And so what I've learned now, and what I think everybody else should do, is I think everyone has to slow down. I think everyone needs to jump into a state or a city, take its time, do the repetitions, do the man hours, build out your Facebook ads, build out your Google ads, talk around, you know, the community, join a chamber of commerce, you know, get on the news, you know, just chill, and everything will work out. You know, and we just kind of go from there. What surprised me most about this business once I was in it, I think I just go back to the same thing that I'm going to say, and it sounds like a cliche, but it's really not, and I really mean it. Mobile IV therapy is so sick, and, you know, I saw it super, you know, I fell in love with it because I still remember, you know, it's happened a couple times, and they don't expect it, and it's super shitty to even, you know, bring up, you know, when you think about it, but I had this daughter call in, and I'm a weirdo. I like to be in the shit, you know, if yeah, I'm a CEO, yeah, I'm an owner. Dispatch is not beneath me. Customer service is not beneath me. I love answering calls. I love seeing who's calling into my business. So I had this daughter call in, and she was straight up like, hey, you know, my mom, she just lost her husband, my dad, and she hasn't been eating. It's been like 3 days. Can I order her an IV? Like, will that help her? And we said, oh, absolutely. And like, we filled everything out and we sent out the nurse. And me personally, what I do, and again, it doesn't matter. I give that bag for free all day. You don't have to do that. I don't recommend you do that. But for me, I give that bag free all day, and they never expect it ever. They're always trying to pay at the end. But like, dude, you just lost your dad. You just lost your husband. Like, hey, let us just help you out with a bag. You know, at the end of the day, a Myra's cocktail, what costs us 18 to 20 bucks. Why not give them a free bag? But I think just that style of thing, and like, they didn't even care, and they didn't even, you know, they were like, oh man, you're so awesome. Like, they weren't expecting it. That's all the things in the world. And then obviously helping the kids that are super sick, and then they perk right up. It's just something about this field that it surprises me. It really does. And I think that's why a lot of you know, registered nurses and paramedics and NPs and doctors are trying to get into it, because it is fulfilling. You know, I am not a medical provider. I am not a medical professional. I did go to nursing school. A lot of people don't know this, but I did go to nursing school for like a quarter, and I couldn't do it because they literally told me I was going to have to go and do hours like in an ER and like, you know, cancer kids and all that stuff. Hell no, I ain't doing all that. So I commend all of you guys out there. You guys are the best. You know, when it comes down to it. Did I always know mobile IV therapy was going to work? Absolutely not. When I first joined up, I thought it was a fad. You know, I had a marketing client. I thought it was a fad. I didn't think it was going to be anything. I thought it was just because of COVID. And to my surprise, it turned out to be something big. Do I think things are changing. Do I think the 50-50 model might not be working anymore with private equity coming in and buying people up and stuff like that? The 50-50 model is getting a little weird. I know PE firms are trying to lower it, to 45%, 40%. I'm like, that's going to change, some of the outcome for all these people. There's a lot of expense when it comes to a mobile IV company. You just have to be careful. You got to throw in, you got to have marketing, you got to have a few things, but at the end of the day, that's probably the only thing that I'm like, that's getting a little weird. And then you have to do good faith exams. Good faith exams cost anywhere from 20 to 30, $40, per user. So that kind of eats into your bottom line now. Just a lot of different things that are changing. So, I don't know. I always knew mobile IV therapy was going to work. I think it's a good business. My best recommendation is don't get 10 partners. You guys will never make profit. Try and limit to 2 partners. I think that's probably the best case scenario right there. If you can get away with it, hey, stick with yourself and, grow what you need to grow. But yeah, that's all I have to really say about that. How did I get my first handful of clients before anyone knew the brand? I was always part of companies that, knew the brand. I did create and I did help create companies that nobody knew. Like I've literally have taken companies from $0 up to $90,000 a month. And it takes years. It absolutely takes years. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in 10 months. It's not going to happen in a year. This takes time, effort, discipline, and hard dedication, and just willing it and believing that it's going to work. Because there are going to be times where you're like, damn, what am I doing? I'm $20,000 in. Why isn't this working? Why aren't there enough calls? What's going on? It's going to happen. You just have to believe in what you are doing. And I've believed in every single company that I've done. And same with clients. I've had a few clients that, are like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And they decide to leave. Or, we'll get the random people that are just, it's too much. I just got to leave. And that's fine. It's just, I would say the 95% that stays with us, they all succeed. It takes a little bit of time to build and grow and do what you need to do. But if you believe in it, if you will it, that it's going to work, it's going to work. And I've done it multiple times. We've done it I literally did it in 2023 from 0 to 2.2 million in 13 months. And that was fun, but it was stressful. I'm doing it again right now, from 0 to whatever it is. It's not at the top of my head, but we're still doing what we need to do. Again, just because I did it fast and don't compare. There's no need to compare. There's no need to do anything like that. If you start mobile IV therapy and you go from 0 to 2,000, you're the shit. 0 to 1,000 is incredible. It's at everyone's own pace. You're gonna get there. Just take your time. And again, shout out to my school community. Please feel free to join up. It's gonna be in the comment section below. Whatever questions, if you guys want me to give away the keys to the kingdom, you let me know. I just need to know what questions you guys have. I'm sure you guys have tons. Let's go with the hardest part of hiring and keeping good nurses. I had a good friend of mine, met him out in Vegas, owns an IV company as well. You know who you are if you're ever watching this. But, he opened my eyes a little bit. When it comes to mobile IV therapy, you're not a mobile IV company. You're an HR company because you're hiring so many nurses. And, the thing is, if you're not thinking that you need to hire 1 or 2 nurses, if you're not thinking you need to hire 10, 20, 30 nurses, you're doing it wrong. It kind of depends on how you want to scale. But on our end, if you're only hiring 1 to 3 nurses and you think that's going to be enough for volume and for you to grow and make a ton of money, you're wrong. You need to have 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 nurses, because the model, how it works is, you want to talk to these nurses and say, hey, look, we're splitting 50-50. You're buying your supplies. I'm paying for marketing. I'm paying for medical direction. I'm paying for everything. Website. We're doing everything we possibly can. And I'm going to need you to, text your friends, text your family, text your aunts, uncles, neighbors, kids, school events, whatever. This is 50% you too. This is your business as well. I'm going to need you to, do what you need to do and step up. You tell that to 20, 30 nurses, you're going to have a good business. Now, where mobile IV therapy operators mess up is, they hire nurses and these nurses think like, oh, this company's just going to give me calls. It is what it is. That's not how this model works. you have to have recurring, from your people to make this work. You get in 20, 30 nurses and they understand that, you're going to have a very good business. So now it comes down to training the nurses, and it's very important to tell them that style that needs to happen. So in retrospect, how you look at it is, you are an HR company. You are always going to have churn. You are always going to need to hire nurses, and that's okay. You just got to keep doing it till you find the good ones, because you will find good ones. You will. It takes years, but you will find good ones that stick with you day in and day out. And, remember, be nice to your nurses, be nice to your medics, be nice to whoever you work with. Make sure, you allow tips. Make sure you tip your nurse. You don't take a percentage of tips. Don't ever do that. Don't ever take I'm going to say it again, and I'm stuttering because it literally, I have seen people take percentages of tips. It's ridiculous. When a nurse gets tipped on a call for a concierge mobile IV therapy service, you give the tip 100% to your nurse. Do not take a percentage for yourself. It makes no sense to me. If you're going to do that, just don't do that. I'm not even going to tell you otherwise, because you should allow tipping for mobile IV therapy. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that. They're going to say like, oh, well, they don't tip in the ER. We don't tip as nurses. That's fine. I know it's weird, but you got to think about it. The cheapest IV bag out there is $130. You mean to tell me for $130 I can get a nurse and a nurse practitioner for a good faith exam and get them to my house and do vitals and give me a bag of saline for $130? That's crazy. You're a concierge service. We got to start acting like it. So, just food for thought when it comes to that. So let's talk about slow months, okay? Everyone asks me all the time. That's probably the number one question right now is, Joe, why is it so slow? Why are we having slow months right now? It happens every single year. If you guys want to jot this down in the calendar, from, I would say, end of April to May, June, July. July, you'll have a little spurt of 4th of July, and everything will be good for a little bit of August. But for the summertime, it's slow season. It just happens. People are on vacation in June. People are on vacation in July. Nobody is vacationing and saying, damn, I need an IV right now. Nobody is thinking health. No one is thinking, no, I should really get an IV. I'm pretty parched. No one is doing that. No one is sick. Everyone is out and about and enjoying time with their family. So when does the season start again? Well, when everybody starts going back to school, end of August, September, first 2 weeks, kids are sick, parents get sick, everyone's run down, boom, there starts our season. Oh, then you start going to Halloween and the parties, and then November, December for Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that stuff. And, you get with families, and then that's when flu season spikes, and then we have fun. We have a great time. This business is booming. But for summertime, I'm telling you, it has happened every year since I've been in this industry. This is nothing new. It has happened every single year, and I swear every year I get the hit with the same thing, like, Joe, it's slow. Joe, it's like, yeah, I swear it happens. It's just you have to be prepared for the slow months. You got to be able to ramp down. And when I say ramp down, take this with a grain of salt. Not just the clients that I work with, but I'm talking about every other mobile IV therapy company out there that doesn't even work with us, that's just listening today, is don't just get rid of your marketing company. Don't turn off your ads. Don't do anything drastic. It's not going to benefit you. Don't turn off the faucet that feeds your business. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because you want to save a few $1,000s between these months. It doesn't work. So, again, it's just, if anything, I would double down. I would double down on marketing. I would double down on advertising. I'd double down on videos. I'd double down on SEO. I'd double down on AI search. I would double down on everything, because everyone right now is scared and trying to hold on to everything so it gets busy again, when in reality, hey, go balls to the walls on everything and do your thing, and then reap, when it comes to, the sick season. So just my 2 cents, my 2 thoughts on that. So hopefully you guys get all that. Let's see. So people were asking, like, when it comes to marketing, why is marketing so important? And so mobile IV therapy, if you walk out of your house right now and you go to your neighbors, go to the left neighbor, go to the right neighbor, and ask them, hey, have you ever heard of mobile IV therapy? I guarantee you one of them is not going to know what mobile IV therapy is. One of them is not going to know what peptides are, or weight loss, or anything like that is. And, it's crazy to me that we're so early. Like, we're still so early and nobody gets it. Nobody gets that mobile IV therapy is a massive industry and it's heavily underslept. And I love it. I absolutely love it because everyone is just like, oh, you can't make money off IV hydration. And I prove people wrong every single time. I show them the metrics and the numbers. People are just don't understand that it takes a special type of person to come in and do hiring and train nurses and send them out on calls and get calls. You better believe that the top companies right now are making millions of dollars in revenue just off hydration bags instead of doing peptides and ozone and all this other stuff that is being offered. But the marketing is so important, especially Google ads and Facebook ads. TikTok's not really there yet, but I think honestly in the next 2 to 3 years, video is going to be a high platform. And I truly think that high end video is going to be a high platform. That's just my little bet that I have running. I think high end, advertising, talking to the camera, is going to be something super important. And at the end of the day, you want to really push out your marketing more on the Google ads and Facebook ad sides to grow your practice. Let's just talk one more time about Google ads. Everyone has to understand when you do Google ads, you're not looking to profit off of Google ads. You're looking to break even. You break even on Google ads, you're doing a hell of a job, because when you bring in a recurring person and they stay with you, that's a $1,500 lifetime value. That's how you make your money. It's repetition. But if you can break even on Google ads, you're doing completely fine. So, and again, with that being said, it's just something that you need to do. So, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the questions I had, when it comes down to this. And, I'm going to make this a little bit more shorter than, the other episodes. But, other than that, I really appreciate you guys taking the ride with me. I have some new stuff coming out. It's going to be awesome. We got, a couple podcasts, guest appearances are going to be happening with some of the nation's top mobile IV companies that's going to be on this channel. I'm looking forward to actually building this channel and actually throwing out video content for this channel. I've done it a little bit in the past, as you can see from my other videos, but not something that I was super passionate on and not something that I was really, really, really good at. For some reason, the man upstairs waved the magic wand on me and, said, hey, Joe, you're going to be very good at understanding mobile IV therapy and understanding healthcare brands. And, again, I've done it time and time again, and I love this shit. I love talking about it. I love everything. So, again, don't forget about the school community. Go ahead and join. It's in the comment section below, in the description. If you guys have any questions or concerns about it, please let me know. But other than that, I'm looking forward to talking with each and every one of you. Check back next week sometime for that podcast episode, and check back in for episode 4 coming. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Happy 4th of July weekend. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.